All right. How are all you good golfers doing out there today? This is a lot of fun. This is a head-to-head matchup between Matt Kuchar's single plane swing and Bryson DeChambeau's single plane swing. We are going to put them to the test, and we are going to see what are the similarities and what are the differences. I think you may be surprised to hear that there's more differences than there are similarities, and I'm not even sure if Matt Kuchar has a single plane swing. But that being said, let's go ahead and dig in here. Okay, Matt Kuchar, one of my favorite golfers. I remember him, as a kid in the 90s with a big grin. Oh my gosh, he always makes everybody feel so good when he's out there on the golf course. And I'll tell you, if he could have gotten some of those putts to fall, he might be the British Open champion. That being said, I'm really proud of him, and I'm darn glad that he is on the tour because I just think the world of him. Now, this is really interesting. He went through some swing changes, and he really brought himself back around to being an elite level player, maybe 10 years ago or so, when people were really fascinated by like, oh my gosh, your swing is so flat, your swing is so flat. And everybody's like, you have a single plane swing, yada, yada, yada. But let's take a look at Mr. Kuchar's swing here. There's some interesting things worth noting. Let's watch the full motion one time. Okay, the thing that I like the most about his swing is he really keeps the club outside of his hands to the top of the backswing and then lets his body go and the club kind of falls under. This outside under move, this loop is, I've described it as the golden loop. Many of the great golfers in history have done this move. Now, he does keep his hands a lot lower, closer to the shaft plane than most golfers, but he still reaches to the shoulder plane. But let's look at this first move. The first interesting thing is his trigger move. We talked about Jordan Spieth's trigger move, but look at Kuch when he gets ready to hit this ball. You see it right here. He raises that club up. My gosh. Before he pulls it back, let's see. He raises that thing up probably 2 or 3 inches before he pulls the trigger and really starts his swing. It's unique to the tour as far as I know. A lot of people hover the club. That's good. I tend to set the club on the ground, and a lot of times with my irons, especially in the rough, I'll get the club hung up on the backswing, and I don't know what it is. I can't stop that swing. Once I get it started, I can't stop. And how Tiger Woods used to stop on the downswing blows my mind. But at any rate, he has an ultra high hover move here. And then you'll notice that he keeps the club way outside of his hands. Now, I will tell you, I have tried to do this, like really loop it and keep it outside of my hands. And what feels like a mile, when I go on videotape, I'm still right along the path of my hands. This is a pretty big move to keep that club in front of him, outside of his hands, as he goes to the top of his backswing. You'll see at the top of the backswing, his shoulders are basically in line with his left arm. He's even, if I drew a line from his left arm through the ball, it'd be like 2 feet out in front of the ball. So it really looks one plane. And even Hogan in here, the way he's, coming in low and flat. I heard a funny saying that Ben Hogan said, the flatter my swing gets, the fatter my wallet gets. And I think what they're talking about doing is returning the club to the shaft plane. But here's Kuch, he's coming into the ball. And he's a tall guy, by the way. But here's those long arms, and what a lovely impact position. And you'll see like almost all great pros, see that lower body just getting out of the way very beautifully. And I'll go back one more time, and once again, watch the depth of his right hip. Gosh, he really moves backwards when he does that hover move. And, I think that's what helps him keep that hip depth so that he has plenty of room to rotate and turn around and unfold to hit the ball. All right, very cool. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Bryson and see where he's at now. Good looking golf swing, Bryson. I'm a big fan, and it's so cool that he won a couple weeks ago. Man, I've been seeing some great golf lately. But let's check this out. So he's got more hip depth to begin. Like you'll see if I drew a line, you know, a tush line down here, you're going to see he's probably 4 inches, 5 inches deep, which is really good. And as he takes the club back, it seems to me he still keeps his left foot on the ground, but he's opened his hips quite a bit. So there is kind of a mix between the classic swing and the modern swing. There's guys who are able and flexible enough to keep their left heel down and open their hips still. The problem is for most average golfers, especially guys over 40, good luck with that. I've tried really hard, and with my short irons I can do it, but I let my heel come up a little bit to try and get into that hip position similar to where Bryson is right now. But there's something interesting in this transition here that caught my eye. Is it looks like his club gets a little bit steep. Do you see how this club is starting to point inside the ball? Like if I drew a line straight down through here, you know, it's much more inside of the ball than Kuchar. Kuchar was way out here. So he's got a much steeper angle of attack as he goes into the ball. And there's something interesting, like right here, I believe to create a little bit more space, because I think he gets a little bit steep, his hat is going to move backwards towards his heels. Watch this. See that? So he creates a little bit of extra space by sitting back as he pulls the club down and around. I'm a huge fan. I think he's got an awesome golf swing. Ben Hogan talked about the shoulders working as a wheel, you know, in the golf swing. And Bryson DeChambeau really fits the bill there. So now let's really put it to the test. Let's put up our shaft plane line and we can take a look and see how these guys are working. Okay, here's Matt Kuchar. We'll watch a full swing one time. Very nice. Now let's go back here. So we shall see. There's the hover move. It's crazy. And you can see how that club is outside of his hands. But the hands are staying pretty much right up along the shaft plane line. Now when his right arm starts to fold, what we will see is that butt end of the handle comes off of the shaft plane line as he reaches for a little bit more leverage. So it's not that crazy. He's still going from the shaft plane that he established at addressed to a shoulder plane. And as he comes down, you're going to notice that he is above the shaft plane. So he's delivering the club slightly above. A lot of great tour players do that. Obviously, he's a great ball striker. But it's just interesting because we have these ideas about shaft plane and the only people that I've seen that really start this low, like he's starting with the club on a super low shaft plane. If you look up Charlie Sifford, you're going to see a guy who's staying on this shaft plane. He takes it around so low, it's just crazy. And Doug Sanders was also kind of like that as well, totally keeping that right arm connected. But a beautiful control swing here. So I actually consider Matt Kuchar to be a two-plane swinger. Right there, he's on a shoulder plane. Very nice. Now let's look at Bryson DeChambeau. Whoa, that is Iron Byron right there, man. Look at this. So watch his hands and the club work up along that shaft plane. The only guy I've seen do better than this is Reed Howard. You guys may remember I made a video called Modern Mo. Reed Howard is a young pro golfer that I met, and he swings single plane like Mo Norman. It's crazy. And he does work in that system. But here's Bryson DeChambeau. He's right here along this shaft plane. It's really incredible. So if you want to talk single plane versus single plane, I have to give the single plane award to Bryson DeChambeau because he actually has a single plane golf swing. Very, very cool. Yeah, so let's watch these two swings one more time. I just love it. Thank you guys for inspiring us to be better golfers. We're huge fans. Keep doing what you're doing. If you guys are interested, I'm going to put a trailer for Mr. Hogan up next. I'm telling you, I think it's the best golf movie to come out in years. I made it, so I've obviously got a lot of bias, but there's a lot of talk about Ben Hogan's secret, how he swung the golf club. You see my transformation in my golf swing, and I'm really, really proud of it. So I hope you'll take a minute to check this out. Hit 'em long and hit 'em straight.
It's hard to describe the sound when Mr. Hogan hit a shot.
He had this tenacity about him. It's really the stuff legends are made of.
He was like Michelangelo and Da Vinci. You know, he was an artist with a golf club.
This is Ben Hogan's locker right here, number 50.
He caddied for my dad. That was the beginning of their relationship.
Suffering produces endurance. Endurance produces character.
He knew what was going to happen, and there wasn't anything he could do about it.
Why he actually decided at that point in time to share what he told me, I have no idea.
What I think he did was he applied physics better than everybody else.
Ben Hogan never watched Jack Nicklaus practice, but Jack Nicklaus watched Ben Hogan practice.
People say Hogan won't ever talk to you. Well, Hogan talked to me a lot.